Hello guys, welcome back to the worst. Hi guys, welcome back to the worst YouTube channel on earth. Today we're going to be talking about prisms. So, prism is the way the US government spies on you and intrudes on your privacy to data mine information about your. So, a prism is basically a three-dimensional shape that has two bases and a bunch of sides. They're called faces, and the main type of prism that we're going to be talking about are called right prisms. Right prisms is where you have two bases, so like any other prism, and the lateral faces are perpendicular to the bases. So if I were to draw this out, then let's say on this triangular prism, then this face would be perpendicular to the base, this face right here would be perpendicular to the base, and this face right here would be perpendicular to the base. So the bases in a right prism are congruent and they are parallel. So this base right here on this pentagonal prism is congruent to this base down here, and they're parallel. On a rectangular prism, then each pair of opposite faces can be considered as a base. So right here, these two faces opposite from each other can be called bases. These two faces right here, this one and this one, can be called bases. And this base up here and this face down here can be called bases. So the number of faces that a prism has depends on the number of sides that the base has. So for example, this pentagonal prism, the base is a pentagon, so it has 5 sides, so therefore the prism has 5 lateral faces. So let's move on to the main concept, which is area. So when we talk about area of a prism, we're either talking about lateral area or surface area. Lateral area is the sum of the areas of all the lateral faces. So we're just including these white faces right here. It's basically everything except the two bases. So to find the lateral area, you just need to follow the formula P times H, where P is the perimeter of the base and H is the height. So let's explain why this is. I've made a model for this. This is a cube. I've assigned two bases and they're marked with red. The rest of the sides are lateral faces. And the reason why the formula is P times H is if you were to look down from a top view, you would see that the lateral faces are just a rectangle that's been curved around. So that might not make a lot of sense. So I'll just open up this cube and show you. So if I were to cut right here and open this up, then you can see that the lateral area is just a rectangle. And when you put it all together, it's just curved around like this, and the base is just covered up. So this is called a net. So it's helpful to use this when you're talking about area. So this blue area is the lateral area, and you can see that it's a rectangle with a side length that is the perimeter of the base. So you can see around here is just the same length as this side. And so following the rules to find the area of a rectangle, you just multiply the length by the width. Except in this, the length is the perimeter of one of the bases, which is this length, and the width is the height of the prism, which is this length right here. So if you were to multiply it out, then it would just be length times width, or perimeter of the base times the height of the prism. So surface area is basically the sum of the areas of all the faces. So basically, you're adding the area of the two bases plus the lateral area, or P times H. So right here, the surface area of this, or total area, would be the red and the blue sides, everything added together. So that would be 2 times area of the base plus the lateral area, which is the perimeter of the base times height. So now let's do some practice problems. By practice problems, I mean one practice problem, since this is a pretty easy concept. So let's do this. This is a triangular prism, and we have to first find the lateral area. So we know that we find the lateral area by following this formula, perimeter of the base times the height. So this is an isosceles triangle, and it gives us all the sides of the base. So we can just find the perimeter multiplied by the height. So the perimeter would be 3 plus 3 plus 5, and then you would multiply it by the height, which is 8. So the answer is 88 units squared for the lateral area. So there you go. So you just have to find the perimeter, and you just multiply it by the height of the prism. Now to find the surface area, we just need to find the area of the two bases, and then add it to the lateral area, which is 88. So since this is an isosceles triangle, and it's not a right triangle, so you can't just use one side times the other side divided by 2, then we have to find out the area by some other way. So we could draw the perpendicular bisector of the base of the isosceles triangle, and use sine, cosine, and tangent to find the area of one of them and then multiply by 2. But I think I'll just use the SSS formula to find the area of a triangle. So Heron's formula, which is the square root of the semi-perimeter times the semi-perimeter minus each of the 3 sides. So basically you can use this formula to find the area of a triangle if you have the 3 sides. So the semi-perimeter would be the perimeter divided by 2. So this perimeter right here is 11, so half of that would be 5.5. So 5.5 times 5.5 minus 3 times 5.5 minus 3 times 5.5 minus 5. And then I'll just work all of that out. So the area of one of these bases would be equal to 4.14578. So we know that 4.14578 is the area of one of these two bases. We need to find the area that the two bases have. So we just multiply this number by 2, and that would get 8.29156. So now we just have to add this number to the lateral area. So our final answer is 96.29, about. So this is the total surface area. This is the lateral area plus the area of the two bases. So that was Prisms, and hope that didn't help.